everybody. It's your girl Angie Fox in the house. In the house. Welcome to the number one empowerment platform in the land. That's right. You know what it is. www.empowermentpodcastnetwork.com, where we are one is in the house. That's right. We're in the house and we're ready. So thank you for joining us on today. Call your neighbors, your friends, and everybody you know, and tell them that the place to be is right here, right now. So when you hear this, share this with someone else because we endeavor to encourage, motivate, and empower you with everything that God has given us. So it gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce to you a very special guest on today. That's y'all already know how I show off when I'm not by myself. So my sister rolling with me today is powerful. She's bad. She's bad. She's a woman of God who's using everything that God has given her to be a blessing to you. So y'all know how it is, right? Y'all know how I do. Let's give it up. Let's give it up right now for one of God's special daughters. Hey, a beautiful woman of God, my sister, the one and only Ramona Custus Lies. How are you, beautiful? How are you?
Angie, I'm awesome. I am joyous. I have that joy, that unspeakable joy.
Oh,
And mm, I'm just so
where's
excited
that?
to be on the show today. I thank you so much for this
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you
Yes.
for saying yes and accepting the invitation. And thank you for showing up with the joy of the Lord. She said, I'm joyous. I'm excited. An awesome woman of God she is. So I'm going to get right into it. Let's get right into it. Ramona, who is Ramona Custis Lies?
First, I want to tell you who I was,
Okay.
because who I am is not always who I've been or who you even knew me as years ago when we met. So I'm going to begin with this: tired, worn, beaten, ready to fall, used, abused, I've given my all. Anxious, confused, depressed, indecisive, delusional, my stomach is in a ball. Wearing a facade, a smile on my face, I respond to the call. I say the right words and talk the talk. I even appear to walk the walk. My clothes impeccable, my hair intact. I don't even recall it's all an act. You see, I know my God. I found him on this journey the day I found out Jesus died for me. So I joined the church and every ministry to ensure God and others would see me. I paid my tithes and offering too, knowing that this was the right thing to do. I looked at all I'd done and marveled at how religious I'd become. Happy was I with doing it all. I truly knew I had rose to the call. Yes, I knew I did it all right until I had a dream one night. God spoke to me and simply said, not just in your head, take my word and place it in your heart. I read his word both day and night. Slowly I understood what it meant to be a light. In Romans, I learned to take care of my temple. Ephesians taught me how to fight. Galatians gave me the true recipe. In Psalms, I found plenty of praise. And in Proverbs, much wisdom to cover all my days. Second Timothy took away my fear. And all throughout, I found he is always near. My thoughts have changed and my view anew. I looked my I took my focus off things to do. No people to please. The knots in my stomach really eased. Anxiety, depression, anger, and facade all gone. I'm re energized, standing tall. Will you join me and answer the call?
Wow.
I wrote that several years ago because I didn't realize I was living a facade. As I said, I walked the walk, I talked the talk, I looked good, and no one ever knew that I was missing that relationship with God. And I start there because I wasn't raised in what we would deem a Christian home. We didn't talk about God. We went to Sunday school, but my parents didn't go. They didn't go to church. We said our prayer before breakfast and meals, and we sat out an hour maybe at night. In the summers, I went to Norfolk, Virginia, and we went to vacation Bible school. But that was the extent of it. I never heard anyone say, even in anger, Mona, I'm praying for you. So there was never anything to feed me. But I didn't know that God had a hold on me. I remember we had a big library, bookcases, and I used to pull out this book, and I would always read about Samson and Delilah for whatever reason, and I would read Bible stories. I was the second of four, and I would read Bible stories to them when they would sit and listen. And I never knew what it was. People would tell me I was different and wise beyond my years, but never understood that. I was always separated and separate. So as I grew older and I got out and did my thing and just enjoyed life, okay, through this mist, this journey that we have, that type of life. My theme song was going to be I Did It My Way. When I died, that's what I wanted them to play, okay. I didn't know about a relationship. I knew there was a God, but he was conditional for me. If I needed something, if I felt sick, whatever, that was good. I had my little checklist. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't, do all kinds of things on the checklist, but I did do things that I shouldn't have done anyway. And no one ever corrected me. And I had a young man I grew up with, and I met him one day, just ran into him. And here I am, one of the Wall Street workers. I was a banker on Wall Street. And he said, have you read the book Rapture? I said, no. He said, here, read this. And he gave me the copy. I read it and I was terrified. I was so scared everybody was going to disappear around me and I was going to be here looking. And I didn't want that to happen. And so I started going to church with my then boyfriend's mother. And we went to a church that you had to be born in. You couldn't just join in. That was his theme song. And the only way to be born in was to speak in tongues. So when I got saved, I didn't speak in tongues. And I didn't even understand that although I was saved, I still needed a relationship with God. And one of his cousins had a sign, have you believed since you received? And I'm like, I was too prideful to answer what it meant. And I remember the Holy Spirit. I could read because I was knowledge. I had knowledge and I was literate. So I could read the Bible, but it meant nothing.
Right. I know
My
that.
heart opened up and I realized it was only through the Holy Spirit did the words mean anything to me. So when the Holy Spirit took place and took over, I realized I was saved. I was in the wrong place because they wouldn't let me do anything because I wasn't speaking in tongues. And so I moved from that place and then I backslid and I had my son because I didn't want to get married. I didn't need a man. I even went as far as to say I can go down to the bank and get me a child. You know what bank I'm
I
talking
know what
about.
make you talking about.
Yeah. And I'm like, I was making good money. I had my own place. So I didn't need anything. And I didn't realize it was wrong because I was 27 when I had him. And I didn't realize I was out of order. And then when I was 33, I had my second child by the same man because I want them to, be full,
Right.
thinking I'm right. And I tell you what, it took me meeting my husband now because I didn't get married. Um, took me meeting my husband now for God to truly take hold of me. We'll be married 35 years in November. And I wasn't looking to get married. I'm going to say it straight out. He's 7 years younger than I am. I told him I wasn't raising my two kids and him. I wasn't raising three children. I mean, I just took him through, whatever, whatever, whatever. He had his own demons. And I was 4 hours late to my wedding. Okay. He told people you can leave if you want. She is coming. Okay.
Stayed and waited.
He waited. He said, I'll play for my own wedding and da 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 da. Anyway, I told him, if you want to marry me, you have to move to Sumter. I don't know why God sent me to Sumter. I knew I burnt out on Wall Street. Here I was, a Wall Street executive making $89,000 in no, not 89, 49,000 in 89, all right, with a high school diploma, okay? And I landed in Sumter. Bam.
South Carolina.
Overqualified, underdegreed. I couldn't get a job stacking boxes in the lighthouse, okay? He couldn't get a job because he was an electrician in the union in New York. And that was a no-no. Anyway, we went, I'm gonna fast forward quickly because we went through what we went through. And God put him with me because God knew what I needed and what he needed.
Right.
And God put me in a bubble to get to the point where he could work on me and I could bring the children up and help him along without me having a mental crisis. So he was always in the church. He was a minister of music, but he had a real bad habit. And I tell you what, I followed him, I followed him, I followed him. I got to know God and I built a relationship while I was in that bubble. And when that bubble burst, it was like, oh my God. And I asked God one day, I always asked him, why did you put me with this man? Why am I with him? Why am I with him? What
What
is
do
going
you
on?
mean when that bubble burst? Because I'm hearing all these defining moments to get
The
you to
bubble,
where you are. What does that mean when that bubble burst?
when he released me out so that I could actually see who I was becoming.
Yeah,
Because up until that time, all I could do was come home from work, clean the house the best I could because it was upside down, it was tore up from the floor, feed those kids, get homework done, go back to work, do the same thing all over again, all over again, all over again. I couldn't feel any emotions. I didn't know who I was. I was in robotic mode.
that's
Okay. Um, the bubble burst, and I came out and I looked at me and I saw that I had a relationship with God. And then I really went seeking, but I still wasn't out of the relationship with my husband, although the marriage wasn't going anywhere. Okay. And he had become one of my kids to me. And when I realized that, God had to show me he was still the head of household, but spiritually I had to look to God. But for the worldly household, I had to look at him.
I got it.
So that's a whole nother
That's a
girl.
whole other thing
We could
altogether.
talk forever
Yes.
on that. So from there, I had gone back to school. I had done some things because they told me I needed to get integrated into Sumter's society.
Yeah.
I moved on. So from there, who am I? I'm blessed to be a woman. That's one thing I am. I am a playwright, an actress, a poet, a writer, a parent educator for 34 years, a victims advocate, board certified human service provider, certified biblical counselor, certified women's empowerment, certified in mental health coaching, a global career development facilitator, a life coach, and I'm the founder of ATAP Ministries, Sisters Unlimited, and the Blessed to Be a Woman series, along with being the mother of 4 boys. I think we'll have our 20th grandchild in 2 days, and I have about 6 great grands, going on 7 great grands.
Sounds
I
like
am,
the best woman to me.
I am now 73 years old, and I am living my best life.
What you say?
Every day is Sunday. Every day I wake up in awe that I'm awake. My doctors even said, I wish all my patients were as healthy as you. And it's, believe
Wow.
me, nothing of my doing. I know my source. I have to say, I am a light. I am joyous. I'm
Beautiful.
just, I'm just blessed with where I am.
And I hear all of your qualifications and all from where you started to come back to this point and realize that God is your source. And then you said something key. My husband, I had to see that my husband was the head of the house. And that's a whole other conversation we'll have for another day. But just to be able to say you had to see that. And in the midst of all that, you got here in Sumter, South Carolina, little old Sumter, South Carolina from New York, and you didn't just get accolade to Sumter's way of doing things, but you went beyond that. So you listed all of your qualifications and certifications, and that's awesome because what that says to me is that you are a woman on the go. You don't stop. You didn't stop. Your circumstances did not define you, and you kept going until you became who God called you. When
Yes.
you saw that.
Yes.
So you mentioned several things. One of them is you said women's empowerment.
Yes.
You started talking about women's empowerment, my ears perk up.
Mhm.
I like that. I like hearing that because you when I heard you say women's empowerment, I first heard you say, glad to be a woman. I am a woman and I'm glad to be a woman. And not that's not a sentence that I hear very often.
Well,
So
actually,
why is that in your definition?
blessed to be a woman.
That's
Well, actually, we started a series on that, and we always hear about Adam and Eve, and we always hear about Eve in a negative sense. But if we stop and think, everything we do, everything we do in a day, everything we do in our life, everything we experience started with Eve. Eve was the first woman to experience childbirth, taking care of a home, fixing meals, whatever it was, being a wife, everything. And we grow up with a set of rules. You're born a girl and you're told girls don't do this, boys do this, boys do that. And when you get older, you're looking for a husband, you're going out, and we got to the point where we forgot our roles.
right.
And for people of color, we forgot our roles. We didn't forget them. We had to take on a different role because men were not allowed to be men, all right, by society. So we took on the role, and then the war came along, and women had to go into factories and work to sustain the household because men went to war. So we took that role on. However, we never relinquished it. Now, I don't know who's going to get upset with what I'm going to say, but I told you my age. And I came up through flower power, women's rights, burning the bras, all of that
All
stuff.
that.
I did not join that because I always knew God didn't call me for that. He didn't make me for that. Yes, I had a high powered job, executive on Wall. I moved 20 billion in and out the bank daily. That power I didn't feel. I was mom. All right. So it was only after I left that I realized how powerful that was in the work world. But I was just mommy at home.
Yeah.
And I realized that God created women to come alongside of men, to be there as their helpmeet. He didn't create us to be alone like I thought I needed to be. I just wanted kids and I was going to do my own thing. He created the family unit and he told us how to go about having it. Now, it doesn't always work out in all circumstances. In mine, it almost didn't.
Mm.
But my husband always says, "Why didn't you leave me?" Because I would have left me. And I said, because God never told me to leave. What God did instead was led me to scriptures. And through the scriptures, it showed me my place and the fact that I don't know if I'm going to save my husband. Through me, he'll be saved. All right. In Corinthians, it talks about that. And I just held on to that and I just met people that helped me along the way to tell me to just pray. And like I said, when I took the focus off of things going on in life, I could then begin to, I'll say, grab my femininity back, put myself back in place.
Got it.
All right.
Now that's
So,
big because you started answering my question by letting us know that's not the most popular mindset to have these days.
right.
Your age, like me, I'm not quite your age, but my age says I'm grown, I'm old, I can say what I want because because I've lived long enough to be able to say whatever I want. But the truth be told, That is not the most popular concept to have because in the day that we live in now, we hear, and I want you to address it. I don't need a man. I can do anything a man can do. Um, I'm my kid's daddy. I've heard women say that on Father's Day,
Mm-hmm.
that they're the father. And we live in a society where women are forced by the circumstances, for the most part, to be the heads of their homes, to lead their families. And I understand that. I understand that wholeheartedly. I do. However, I'm from that old school where you're from. And I don't believe, it's my personal opinion and belief, that I'm supposed to be able to do everything that my husband does. So when you say you're blessed to be a woman and the beauty of being a woman, I hear you leading to explaining to us exactly what that means. Because we're not just mommy, but a man can never be mommy, and we can't be daddy.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us, all those women out there of all ages right now who feels like or have been programmed to believe or forced into situations where they feel like I don't need a man. I don't have a man. I know some young women who, when they meet men, I call them managed. I always tell them you're too managed. Let the man be the man and stop trying to do everything. Show the man that you need him. And I'm gonna get some slack for this because we shouldn't say we need a man. But I would like for you to address that in your blessed to be a woman. Help us understand exactly what that means. Because I am blessed to be a woman, but I'm also proud to be my husband's helpmate and stand beside him and not lead my family. Talk to us about your take on that and what that all means to you.
Well, Angie, I wrote a play, Blessed to Be a Woman and Happy is the Man Who Receives Her. And in that play, the gist of it was women, God created us. He didn't just form us, He performed surgery.
Mm.
We're special. When we think about somebody being put to sleep, what do we think of? Major surgery.
Major surgery, yes.
That's what he did. He took the rib of Adam, but he said he put him to sleep.
Let me sleep.
So he made us special. That's number one. Okay. And if we abide by the scriptures, we find that in being made special, he gave us a special role. That's to come alongside of a husband.
Yes.
It is not to be equal to in the sense that, okay, job wise, we have to remember, and I remember when women became garbage men, firefighters, and everything. I'm going to be blunt. We have an opening that men do not have. And through that opening, many of the female parts and stuff can drop. Whereas God created men closed. That's to do the heavy lifting. I went to a college, John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and they came in one day and they wanted to find females to work in the prison. And I jumped up and she said, "Sit down, you're too feminine." And I said, "Okay, okay." Our minds are not trained the same way a man's mind is. Yes, there are women out there that have taken on, I can fight as well as a man. I can go to work and make as much money. I can do this, I can do that. But when you come home, and when I used to come home and I had my two little babies, who did I come home to tell, listen, I'm tired emotionally. Listen, I need you. Now, the one thing I found is, and I tell women because my ministry is to help women find their gifts, their spiritual, their calling, and
Yes.
to walk. I walk alongside of them to help them walk in their calling.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in order to do that, you got to pull up those old roots. So, what have you been told? If you got a half a man, it's better than none. Um, if he beats you, it's okay as long as he paying the bills, he bringing home the bacon. Women have grown up, you made your bed, lay in it. You can't come home. All these things we've grown up thinking, and we have a lot of eye candy. All right. I like the way he looks. Oh, I like the way he smells. Oh, I love what he does for me.
Yeah.
But we don't stop and seek God. Now, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not going to say anything my husband doesn't know. My husband is not the one that I would have looked to marry, right? God put us together. Believe me, he put us together, all right? And through that, he had to teach me what it was to be the woman, to be the support. I am a very, very powerful, independent. I mean, I saw one of your podcasts. Yes, I'm dependent on somebody, but I'm independent. All right. I can do it all. All right. But I don't have to, because that's not what I'm called to do. And what I want to do and what women need to do is learn to walk out our calling. Okay. We need to understand God's way is the only way. That I can say I'm awesome because I am. Is everything wonderful? No. Right now, my money's so funny. My husband's money's not funny, but my money's so funny because of the independence. Anyway, I don't want to turn around and say, look, honey, I need some more money. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he provides. But at the same time, I'm awesome because I know who my father is and I know that I'm walking within what I need to do. If I want it with the qualifications I have, I mean, I can get any job. And that's one thing I had to set myself up for options.
Okay.
So I learned I'm in class now to be a youth mental health coach. I mean, I'm a forever learner, I'm a lifetime learner.
That's
All
right.
right. And the thing is, and I may never do it per se as a job, but I'll do it when I go to Walmart. I'll do it when I'm in church. I'll do it wherever I am.
That's it.
But to be a woman, you have to really stop and you have to say, this is my temple. I am blessed. He created me specially. Yes, he made men, but he created me specially. He created me as the weaker, because he says you as the weaker vessel, the husband is to love and take care of the wife. We say in this midst, I don't need no man to take care of me. I don't need this. I got this. Okay.
I need mine. Let me just say that right now.
You
Hey,
say
I need
you.
mine for everything that God has for him to do. I need mine, all of mine.
So when you take the eye candy away and you look at the heart of the man
Mhm.
and you look at his walk with Jesus
That's
and you look at the fact that you can talk and you have to get some counseling. I don't care if it's premarital, I don't care if it's marital, but look for a Christian counselor. I don't mean just someone that hangs a little sign out saying I'm a Christian counselor.
right.
You need to build a relationship and get to know them because at any turn in your walk in this life, and especially as a woman, you need somebody to support you and come alongside you and say, hey, I forgot to mention I'm a chaplain also. But anyway, that's I'm just a ministry of presence. You need calmness in the room, call me. All right.
That's what
My
I want.
friends
Love that.
define me more than I have. I am not inspirational, which I found out this year. I thought I was an inspirational, motivational speaker. I'm not. I'm a transformer. I'm
Love
transformational.
that. Yes.
I will transform. We're going to do a series on Blessed to Be a Woman. The first one is going to be pulling up roots. Girl, we got roots in us. And everybody say, yeah, Jesus pruned the tree. No, no. Pruning means I cut off the things. Pulling up that root means you get that root out of you. Therefore, it doesn't grow back. Therefore, you don't
Of
have to
course.
treat anything.
That's right. We
Okay.
get another source of it all. Listen,
Yes.
you can talk all day because you are simply amazing. You said the word awesome, and that is definitely you. You demonstrate that, you exemplify that, and all that God has given you to do, and how and everything that He's made you to be. So before we end this episode, because I'm going to have to bring you back, I want you to give that young lady one piece of advice that she can carry away with her today to help transform her life.
I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to start affirming and reaffirming who you are in God's eyes. You are wonderfully and awesomely made. You are His daughter. You are special. You are beautiful. Your hair, everything about you, He didn't make any mistakes. And I want you to make a sign saying, I am, just I am. And then at the end of that I am, I want you to tag something. You can start with I'm a good cook, whatever it is. You write your list of I ams. And I'm going to tell you what, you will get to the point where you will believe who you are. And as you believe who you are, you will become who you are. You will walk in who you are. You will put that beautiful dress on. You'll put every day I get up and put my earrings on and this bracelet and my watch on before I get dressed. That's the first thing I clip on, and it's like, this, I'm beautiful. I don't look like, you, Angie. You're beautiful. I'm
Beautiful. We are
beautiful.
all beautiful.
We are.
Thank you, thank you, thank you to each of you watching this broadcast and listening to this episode today. My prayer is that you take away from everything that you heard today what you need, the keys, the tools, the principles. What you've heard today is indeed for you to grow and become the woman that you were called to be. Ramona, thank you for being with us today. We definitely will be hearing more from you. You all will be seeing more of her because she's going to be on a couple other platforms that I'm on with me. But thank you for tuning in. Tell everybody you know that stay tuned in every day, all day, to We Are One on empowermentpodcastnetwork.com. God bless you all. Holla at you, girl.